Good evening and welcome to FTB Sports. This is the preview show, Spurs vs Chelsea, which kicks off on Thursday, 8 p.m. And I'm joined by special guests, Mike, Darius, Nigel. How are we all doing?
Not too bad.
Yeah, not too bad.
More enthusiastic than that, gentlemen.
Spurs related, I'm not great, but I'm... Yeah,
right,
let's get a bit buzzing.
Let's get ourselves up. Let's get ourselves up. We can't be too down. I was down for all of yesterday, so it wasn't good. But no, we have to move on. Saving graces that Arsenal lost today, which is good. Let's hope there's a few more results that go our way. We're in a little bit of a problem, aren't we, gentlemen? We're in a little bit of a problem. Oof, as I said, the game against Brighton. There's one thing to lose against Liverpool. I know Liverpool were short of players, but they're Premier League champions and not ex-European champions and Premier League champions for no reason. They find a way to get through, obviously, with Klopp. But that Brighton performance, I don't know if anybody just wants to say anything more about that before we get into the preview on Chelsea. Like, I see you smiling there. Nigel's very stone-faced. What's going on?
I don't want to talk about it, so I'm going to let these...
All I'm going to say is we cannot play any worse than we did against Brighton. It can't get any worse than that, surely.
I mean, how many times have we said this now? That's all I'm going to say. How many times have we said this? And we haven't lost Son yet, so I'd hold that fort just for a while, Mike, just for a while. But I just want to see it. I just want to see a little bit more intent. That's it. That's all I'm going to say on that. Just a little bit more intent.
Well, I have absolutely no sign that is exactly what you're going to get. Exactly. I have no reason to believe that it's going to be any different.
Exactly.
Oh, lads, you're not filling me with confidence at all.
This is a great start. This is a great start. This is a great start.
I was like, I'm ready for this. I'm ready. I'm bouncing. But now it's like, oh, God. I know it's Chelsea, but you've got to think. When Spurs play Chelsea, notoriously, it's always a feisty game. We've had some good battles with them in the past. Obviously, the last league game we played against them at the Bridge was 0-0. It was a drab game, to be fair. Chelsea went through a bit of a mire, as we're going through at the moment, and they changed managers. I'm not expecting us to change managers, but I will ask you this question. Given the media battering that we've had in the press over the last day or so, what can Jose do now to get the best out of these players? I'm going to go to you first, Nigel. Since you haven't been on for a couple of occasions, we're going to go to you and ask that question of you.
What can to be honest, the way the media is treating Jose right now, I've noticed they do this thing where they kind of assume like everyone knows what Jose Mourinho is doing and what he's thinking, and they think, oh, he's gone into the dig the players out thing. And I don't know, I feel like sometimes Jose thrives under that kind of environment where he can say it's us against them. Do you know what I mean? And I've noticed he's kind of taken an empathetic, if that's the word, an empathetic kind of angle towards the players. And he said, we're going through a sad moment. I don't know if he's kind of changed, if he wants to kind of give them the hug around the shoulder and like, hopefully, I think he's kind of changed his way of just digging everyone out, I think anyway. In terms of getting the best out of them, I don't think he has a way of changing the way we play. I don't think, especially against Chelsea, like, Chelsea's a very front foot team. I don't think we're going to have what it takes to kind of infuse that confidence. I don't think this game's going to be the one where Jose suddenly decides we're going to play them fire with fire. I don't see this being any kind of turning point, to be honest. Maybe we can wait until next week, but I don't think Jose has it this week.
Well, listen, I think what was interesting, because I was watching the transfer deadline day yesterday and I saw Harry Redknapp on there, and he was like, just put an arm around him, make him feel good, get him out on the training room, sort this problem out. He was very matter of fact about it. He's kind of like, it's almost like a man management job. We didn't have the Dele Alli leaving saga. We haven't got the Eriksen coming in. So now it's a case of we've got the players that we know we've got until the end of the season. Dele Alli surely has to come back into the fold. Now, we all don't know what goes on in the inside, but there's something obviously wrong. the relationship between Jose and Dele has to be patched up. We need a player. And I know what you were saying, Darius, last time when we did the reaction show, it's like we're kind of stepping like we're Arsenal and treating it like a similar Ozil situation. But I just think just down to the fact that we're so injury prone at the moment, injury prone. We've got injuries throughout the squad. We need to have as many players available. And Dele Alli, I think, can definitely come back in. Maybe not just come in and, you know, score 3 or 4 goals or, you know, create 4 or 5 assists, but just to show that we can, you know, forgive and forget and get players back on side, you know. So giving that question again, what can he do to get the best out of these guys?
That on me again.
Well, I was asking Darius now, because I'll go to Mike as well. I want to get Mike's view too.
Again, I'm kind of with Nigel on this one. I think I'm not looking at this game for that boost, that change, that game that's going to spark Spurs into a new wave, a new form. But again, it's Chelsea. I think with Tuchel coming in and the way he's played the last 2 games, Chelsea have been so dominant in possession. He's made sure that he wants to control games. He wants to make sure that Chelsea keep the ball going, keep the ball moving, even if there's no sign of attack. That's why he's brought Jorginho back into the team, so he can tick that ball around midfield and make sure that Chelsea are dominating games. And for me, if you're looking at a Mourinho Spurs team against a Chelsea team like that, it's not going to be a pretty sight. It's going to be probably a low scoring game. We're not going to have possession and we're going to keep to a shape, and we're probably going to try and catch them on the counter. Whether that works, I don't know. I've realized now that this style, this tactic that Jose Mourinho is so famous for, you can't predict games. It's basically based on the day. If the game goes well and we get lucky and we take our chances, we'll win the game. If the game doesn't go well, we're not putting ourselves in a position to have a better chance of winning the game, because we only have about 8 shots, 9 shots, 10 shots on target, not even on target, at goals. So so it doesn't even, that's what I mean. When we haven't got anything to fall back on, if we don't take our chances, we're not going to win the game. That's how I feel now.
You know, for me though, and I'll come to you, Mike, in a minute. You know, for me, it isn't so much about results. Obviously, we need the result. But the performances in the last 2 games, particularly, have been substandard. There doesn't seem to have been enough effort from the players. If I can see, and this is what I'm saying about Chelsea, we're playing Chelsea. The players themselves have played. There's many players in this squad who will probably be in the starting 11 to Thursday that would have played against Chelsea on a number of occasions. And they know what this means to us as fans. They know what it means to the club to play Chelsea. Very similar to playing Arsenal. You shouldn't need to motivate these players. So I'm hoping that they come out and at least put the performance in, you know, the effort.
You know, the thing is, Mike, like, I see the identity that Jose's brought into the team. And I think a lot of the times our fight is there and our will is there. Maybe not in the last couple of games, but the fight and will has always been there. But the style of play may not be there. That's like the main thing in this game. So it's
I'll
put
it to you another way then, Nigel.
But
yeah,
I don't know if it will make a difference.
If you look at a team like West Bromwich Albion, for instance, who've brought Sam Allardyce in, and put it this way, West Bromwich Albion, before he came, Slaven Bilic, he was able to do some games, but there was other times I see the players just kind of like, you know, we've had enough. Sam Allardyce is coming, and he's not everybody's cup of tea. He's very much, you know, the old school up and at him, but he's getting players to perform, and he's limited on players' ability. So what I'm trying to ascertain is, why can't the players self-motivate? Even if Jose's saying, play this style, do this kind of play, I want you to hold back, I want to see them at least throwing tackles in, you know, pressing the ball. You can do that.
Motivation?
There's got to be something. I don't know whether it's just the motivation. I just think the players, as Darius has probably said, it's a double-edged sword with the way we play. You know, it can either go one way or the other. It's very, very close to being a win or a loss. You know, the style is, it almost appears like we play this counter-attacking defensive style, get the goal, and then we sit back.
You leave no room for mistake with the style we play. I mean, you have to be perfect in every single performance, defensive and offensive.
Yeah, but what I still don't get is how in the last 2 games, and particularly against Brighton, there was just no effort. Mike, I'm going to say to you now, that last bit of the question, what does Jose need to do to get to the best out of the players? Or do the players need to do more? Do the players need to step up a little bit?
I think it's probably a bit of both, to be honest. Like, from my perspective, Mourinho obviously needs to have a chat with them. He needs to put an arm around those that need an arm around them and say, look, come on, sort it out. I know you're better than this, blah, 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 blah. But the players also need to step up the mark, because I've said this before, like Mourinho can only do so much. It's down to the players. Once they cross that white line, it's down to the players to perform. And if they can't perform when they cross that line, then what can Mourinho do other than think, well, okay, if you can't perform and do the job that I'm asking you to do, then I've got to look at alternative options. So I think personally, Mourinho needs to. Let's go back to basics. What was the formation and the style of play that we were playing at the beginning of the year that just saw us get that success?
Well, wasn't it? It was working so well.
So if it was working well, why change something that's not broken? I know
it was the West Ham game.
Injuries. I get, like, there was some.
I think it was that West Ham game that really, because the West Ham game, the way we approached that West Ham game in the first half was almost near perfect for me. The way we pressed that team, we got 3 goals quickly, and we should have buried that game. And because Jose saw that team concede 3 goals in 10 minutes, he thought, "Nah, I'm not letting you do that again. We're gonna play defensive."
The only reason we conceded there was down to these silly individual errors, which I don't think's Mourinho's. It's not his fault in terms of the tactics. You've got to look at the play. Like Sanchez, how many mistakes has Sanchez made this season that's cost us a goal? Like, Mourinho can only do so much before it's like, well, okay, I've given you so many chances this season. You're not you're not cutting it. I've got to get rid. Same with Dyer. How many mistakes has he made that have led to goals? Okay, those goals may have not sort of been the make or break as to whether we've won a game or not, but the mistakes are still there. So if Dyer's making continuous mistakes, Rodon's knocking on the door, who's not been playing bad, and he's come in, and I think he's taken his chance and deserves to be in the starting lineup tomorrow. Thursday. So I think it's a bit of a 50-50. Like, motivation obviously has to come from above, but if you as a player can't be motivated to put on that shirt and perform for the club and for the badge, then I don't want you in the team.
You see, I've got a kind of my thought process regarding this motivation thing and players under buses and putting arms around players. It's a difficult one, because I looked at Arteta earlier in the season when Arsenal were getting pammed. Every game they were getting beat. He almost didn't want to blame any player. And I was like, well, sometimes you got to tell the players what it's like. But he didn't. He kept very much, no. The players are doing everything I'm asking, blah, blah, blah. He didn't exactly say it's my fault, but he wasn't throwing players under the bus. Jose, I don't recall any point this season where he said, you know what, that's my fault, that is. I'm going to take all. He kind of, well, after 60 minutes, this, that, and this player did that. And he kind of, this almost psychological approach to things. He kind of, it's like, for instance, Bell came off after 60 minutes, and then he said, in the last 30 minutes, we've been playing, there was more heart, which kind of digs a little bit at Bale to say that he wasn't doing enough. And Jamie Redknapp made that point on Sky Sports. And that doesn't help in a situation like this, So looking at the players, yes, you want them to be putting the effort in, but also they're human beings. The situation that we've got in the world is not easy as it is. We don't know what goes on in their personal lives at home and outside of football. We also have to realize that as well as they are professionals, they still are human beings. Right. So what are we expecting from these players in terms of a response then? Mike?
I'd hope that the players are wounded dogs, and they want to come back out fighting and put on a performance that we all know they're capable of, and they know they're capable of themselves, and put it right. Because if they get 3 points on Thursday night, I almost said tomorrow night, but if they get 3 points Thursday night, then what that could do for their confidence could be massive for now until the end of the season. It could be the turning point for us to get out of this sort of blip that we're in, whatever you want to call it, and really sort of make a statement and try and, I suppose, work our way back up the table again.
Nigel, how do you see us getting 3 points on Thursday?
3 points.
Yeah, I'm not looking at draw. I'm looking at how do we win? And that's what I'm saying. This is what we're doing
I was
now.
gonna say the same
We're looking at this game and we're
thing.
thinking, oh, shit, to get out of there, we're point. No, we have to, as fans, we have to really think to ourselves, we can win
You
this
know
game.
what, Shane?
And
I
a lot.
think-
Go on.
I think like I feel like our players are going to come and they're going to fight and they're going to play, and I think there will be pride, like Mike says, there will be a wounded dog kind of thing. But with the tools that we have and just the way we played in the prior games, do you see us getting 3 points? Like,
Listen,
where are the goals coming from?
I'm not having this about the players thing, because I look at a team like Sheffield United, I look at Brighton, I look at Fulham, I look at West Brom, I look at all those teams in the lower half, and not one of them that we've played this season, I've named all of those teams, did I think, oof, you know what, this is an easy game here. They all gave us problems. All of them have given us problems. Brighton probably played us off the park for 2 games we've played them against this season, although we got 1 victory
But
against
ask
them.
yourself, guys, why is that?
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. This can only be, it's not down to the fact of their ability, because even Sanchez, as much as I just don't want to see him play for us, he's got to be better than the centre backs at West Brom. He's got to be better than the centre backs at Brighton and Fulham.
Maybe not
and
Brighton. Maybe not Brighton.
So why Brighton where they are then? Do you know what I'm saying?
Because they haven't got a goal scorer. I think Brighton would be way higher up the table if they had a goal scorer. The thing is with me, right? It's a case of I can complain all the time about these games and how we've been dominated by these teams below us. But then I look at the games, and when I remember watching these games, we're letting these teams dominate us. And also for 45 minutes in these games, we're not getting dominated by these teams, or we're choosing to get dominated by these teams. And what annoys me is the approach seems like it almost seems premeditated. It almost seems like he's expecting things to happen in the game that might not happen. We might not take the lead early. Like, we could have taken the lead early against Liverpool. We got that disallowed goal in the 2nd minute. That could have changed the entire outlook of the game. But it's not, this is football. It's not going, everything's not going to go as you plan. So for me, I need to see more of this pragmatism that I keep hearing everybody praise Jose for. If you're pragmatic, the definition of pragmatism is to change things if it's not working. And he's not doing that at the moment. Like, we can all clearly see we just need to push up maybe 5 yards, 10 yards, and maybe have a higher line, just so at least we can squeeze pressure. Because the reason Liverpool play a high line is so they can keep containing their attacks. If they win the ball back high, they can turn the ball and attack quickly, and it feels like they are constantly on you. That's what Spurs need to kind of adopt a little bit, regardless if you're a defensive team. Any team, and I've seen Spurs do it again this season, I'll keep saying this, we have pressed high. We need to bring back that just a little bit more intensity, because if we let Chelsea, and I'm telling you now, this is Chelsea. This isn't West Brom. This isn't Brighton. This isn't Fulham. This isn't anyone like that where maybe a system or tactics have bolstered their chances against us. This is Chelsea. This is a team who have got a better team than us, and now, in my opinion, have a better coach tactically than Frank Lampard to set out Chelsea to beat Tottenham. And I think that they will. And I'm saying that because I don't see anything in this Tottenham team against Brighton. Why am I meant to be confident if we've gone into that Brighton game with there's no difference in the team, nobody's coming back, nobody's out? Why am I meant to be confident if we can't even go and beat Brighton, and now we've got to go and play against Chelsea, Thomas Tuchel's Chelsea, and a confident Chelsea? Can I ask that question? Why should we be confident? Why are you confident? Or why would you think that we can get
the reason I would say I'm confident that the players will put performance in is A, they can't be any worse. You know, they've played 2 games against Liverpool. I said, not forgiven, but I'll kind of legislate with the individual errors. And to a degree against Brighton, they were just a better team on the day. And none of our players from 1 to 11 actually turned up. I can't name any of the players that played against Brighton that actually did anything apart from Vinicius when he came on. There was a bit more impetus, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't take a lot for these players to get motivated to play football, because, as I said, we're playing Chelsea. The history of Chelsea, the fact that it is Jose's ex-team is motivation enough. He should want to beat them. We should want to beat them for those reasons. You don't have to motivate a player for these type of games. If you do, then we really are in problems. So if I see the performance on Thursday as in lackluster, not pressing, not throwing, putting tackles in, I want to see the foul count up. I can't say that too quickly, so I had to slow that down. I want to see that sort of thing going on because this shows me the desire. Like I said, you can't legislate for individual errors. You cannot legislate for players and what Lloris did against Liverpool. That happens, but it shouldn't happen too often. Now, the players will have watched these back. They would have seen all this sort of stuff, and they would be saying to themselves, listen, lads, you know, we've got Arsenal just behind us. We've got Chelsea just behind us still. They're not above us. Remember that. We have played awful the last 2 games, and we're still 6, I think we are. That's motivation enough. I'm just going to go to this comment here from Stoney Browder Jr. With Kane's injury, what are your thoughts on the reintroduction of Dele to the team to play in an advanced position? Does anybody want to answer that?
I can't see Dele coming in for the Chelsea game. I mean, if he is genuinely injured, then he's not going to come walking straight in, is he? Let's be honest. If anything, and if we do have a number 10, and if Vinny's playing up front, etc., then it's likely going to be and Ndombele that'll play in that role that Dele might play in if he was sort of starting as such. But I think the thing is we're second guessing, aren't we? Because we just don't really know what's in Mourinho's mind in terms of this game coming up. Like, Dele's obviously not gone. Whether Mourinho wanted to keep him or not is another topic in itself. So I don't know. I think the reintroduction of Dele, I'd hope it comes sooner rather than later, but I can't see it happening against the Chelsea game. Certainly not going to start anyway.
Darius, who do you see in that starting lineup? Sorry, Mike, just to cut you off, because I know
that's right.
You know, who do you see in that starting lineup? And what, like I said, you're very critical there of what you're expecting from the guys. So in terms of a starting lineup, to get the best approach, the best team, who would you want to see in that starting 11?
Yeah, I am critical, but at the same time, I'll tell you this now. I'm not expecting anything from the game. I'm not expecting anything performance-wise either. So I am critical, but I also at the same time, I'm not going to get angry if we don't get a result in this game, as opposed to the lineup and how we can kind of beat Chelsea or better our chances of beating Chelsea. I think the key for me is pushing Ndombele slightly further forward this game and playing a 3 in the middle. I think Thomas Tuchel has obviously chosen to, I think Kante's out injured, but he's chosen to play Jorginho in the defensive midfield again, so he can kind of dictate play. But Jorginho isn't a mobile player. He's not a defensive midfielder. He's sort of like a deep line playmaker almost. So he's not got really many defensive qualities. So I think if we can get Ndombele slightly more forward on Jorginho sort of in that sort of area, I think we can really, really, I don't know, counter-attack a lot better, because Jorginho is not going to be able to stop Ndombele. And as opposed to the forward line, I don't know. I think Vinicius has to start, Son has to start, and Bergwijn has to start. That would be my front 3. So I guess that would work. Midfield, yeah, Ndombele, Højbjerg. I would probably play. I don't know. I'm not. I could choose anybody, but I don't think the approach is going to change. So I can go through the lineup, but I don't think it's going to make a difference. I think Jose's mindset now, losing Kane in this game, is going to be, we're the inferior team. We're going to have to try. We're not meant to win this game, so we're going to try and get a result. And
even though we're at home.
Yeah, no, honestly. Buckle up. I'm telling you now. We've lost Kane. We've lost Kane. We are now we're already the underdog. We're now the under puppy. We're tiny. Jose's not going to approach. We're not going to approach any game and try and win the game when we don't even have our best player. And we already, even if we did have our best player, we already weren't even trying to attack games. So I keep asking the question: what makes you think anything's going to change?
Nigel,
Reggie and Gio are big misses.
Yeah,
they're big misses for sure.
And that doesn't give me any confidence either. Now you've mentioned that.
If at least we could have said, you know what, if we had Gio on the pitch, that's a player that can change our whole dynamic as a team. If you have Reggie as your left back, that gives you a whole new attacking dimension. These are things that unlock things. But now you've gone from, say, you're picking from Gio and then Ndombele and possibly Højbjerg, or even if Mourinho doesn't like it, the possibility is there because you can have that attacking dimension. But now we're saying it's either Sissoko or Winks in midfield, and more than likely you're going to have Davis out on the left. It's just like the attacking possibilities already, they weren't like vast, but now even then it's a bit more limited.
Davis versus Hudson-Odoi, Davis versus Pulisic, David versus Ziyech. Do you see any of these being like a positive? Do you see a positive result? Do any of you see a positive result?
Right. So I'll go to the point where we are 6th in the league. I think we've lost 6 games in total. I think our defensive record suggests that we are joint 3rd. I know we have to go by the last performance and probably the performance before with the Liverpool game. But this is football. There's been a number of clubs that have gone through this type of mire. You know, I look at Man United at the beginning of the season, look at Arsenal at the beginning of the season, I look at Chelsea recently until they fired Frank, Liverpool, City, you know, the list goes on in terms of teams not doing too well and then somehow being able to get a performance. I can't understand why, given the tools that we have, yes, we've got a number of players missing, but you can't tell me that players cannot self-motivate against a team like Chelsea and put the effort in. All I'm looking for now for the game on Thursday is a desire. I've not seen a desire to win the game. I've not seen enough players, you know, going around. I saw Højbjerg when we were playing Liverpool kind of do that, and he got the goal back for us, and he was showing that sort of passion. But even he against Brighton was like, you know what? The rest of these guys around me are just not doing. So something's happened within the camp. Now, whether that's to do with all the Uriah situation, the Dele Alli, blah, 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 you could probably write down a whole list of things that maybe have gone wrong. But surely we can expect players to go out and just give us 100% effort and make sure we match effort. Because as you said, Hudson-Odoi versus Ben Davies on paper doesn't seem like that's a contest that Ben Davies is going to win. But why shouldn't he be able to compete? You know, why can't he compete with him to stop him? You know, Luke Shaw's been getting slated for the last 2 years at Man U, and he's suddenly turned a corner. I'm not saying that Ben Davies is Luke Shaw. Sorry, Mike, go on.
No, I was just going to say, Davies has been pretty solid for us this season. I mean, there's not been many occasions whereby he's been appalling. So if Davies, as long as his confidence hasn't been knocked and he's not one of those that have been affected, then I don't really foresee him coming in being an issue at left back. I think he'll be his usual solid self, and that's all we really want from him. As long as he's doing his job, stopping whoever it might be on that right flank from sort of attacking the space behind him as such. As long as he stops that and does his job as a left back, which ultimately is to act as a defender first and foremost, then I think he'll be fine. And the same with the back. Go on.
Sorry, yeah. How are we? I know you just mentioned about the whole effort thing. How are we quantifying effort? Because I'm kind of on the same boat as Nigel. I think the effort is there. I think the effort's there. It's just how are we meant to display and show this effort? And
if I'm honest, I didn't see that on Sunday again.
Yeah, I didn't
see it. I didn't see effort. I saw players deciding that they'd had enough. When Bale his number came up, he just was like, "Oh, thank goodness for that, I'm off." And I saw Ndombele go down, and he was holding his ankle. He didn't really get a twist. When he did come off, he was like, "Oh, yeah." It looked like players had just kind of checked out. You know, even the defensive aspect. You know, they were going through the motions, and we were lucky that we only lost 1-0. The fans, most of the fan shows that I watched and all the reaction from Spurs fans was that this cannot happen. A lot of people were going on the fact that Mourinho saw us and he's outdated and all the rest of it. And to some degree, yeah, Jose didn't help matters with his choices and his substitutions, all the rest of it. But again, you've been in teams that I've coached, though. You know, one thing that I expect from any player is a level of effort. If you don't see that, no matter how talented you are, no matter how good you are on the ball, you can't play. You can't unless you're forced into that. So this is where
also let us express ourselves. Though that's the difference as well. Wow.
Correct.
While I do 100% agree with you. Effort is a given in football. If you don't give effort, I said, that Burnley game, I'll never forget that Ndombele game last season against Burnley when he got hooked half-time, not even half-time, first half, because he put 0 sprints in, 0 effort. But at the same time, we can talk about the human factor again. As if I was being told every week to basically play a style which I can't express myself, if it's not working consistently, maybe for a couple of weeks, or you're not really seeing anything come from it, I'm going to start to kind of not want to put the effort in. And I'm not saying that I understand why they're doing it, but again, like there's no inclination for them to put in any effort if they're being told to do the same thing and it's clearly not working.
But do you think Mourinho's turning around and saying to the players, I don't want you to express yourselves on the pitch. I just want you to be robots and do exactly what I want you to do?
I don't think it's that obvious. I don't think it's that obvious, but I do think he has some. I do think he does say things as in, look at Dele Alli. I mean, Dele Alli is a perfect example. Dele Alli would. I don't mind a player trying a flick or two, but I can't see Mourinho ever letting him try something. Even any player try something. That's my thing.
The thing is, there's the odd flick here and there, but when it's consistent and the defenders are reading it, any manager is going to turn around and be like, Dele, stop doing the flicks. It ain't working. They've read it. Do something different. Play your football. Stop trying to be a fancy Maradona and sort of sort it out, sort of thing. Because the flicks aren't working. No one wants to see continuous flicks if they're not working.
When we're talking about expression and expressing yourselves, what if you don't have a talented enough team to be able to express yourself on the ball, talent-wise?
Then you create a shape, but we don't have that.
But what I'm saying is, teams like Fulham, teams like West Brom with Allardyce now are expressing themselves because they're putting in an effort to get a result. When you do that, things come from that. If you're confident in your approach, if you're thinking right, because don't forget, as I said, we are in a cup final already, playing the way we're playing. We are still in all the other competitions, given the Europa and the FA Cup. And although it's not looking great at the moment, we're still in the top 6. If we kind of like unpick all of that and just think, you know what, the players have got to express themselves more. We expressed ourselves a lot with Poch, and that still didn't work out towards the end because of the fact that players weren't playing for him. I might think more a case of, are the players now deciding that they don't really want to play for Jose, or is there something internally with regards to his outing of certain players, his maybe way he deals with things in the press, you know, the Aurier situation, the Bale situation, the Ali situation, where, you know, people are just thinking, what's going on here? It needs a bit of camaraderie, a bit of togetherness, a bit of a team talk to kind of get these things out. And once you do that, I think there'd be a different approach. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to go from playing like we're playing now to going and playing like Man City. That is probably not going to happen because Jose's never done that wherever he's gone. But I have seen him have a lot of players who've got technical ability and attacking ability, and they have used that. Go back to the 6-1 against Man United. That was a very much on the front foot. Something's changed somewhere. It's what's changed and why it's changed is what I don't know. And confidence in football is almost everything. So we've got to get that confidence back. And the way to get that confidence back when you're not playing well is to make sure you put everything into it. Don't let the other team play. Get around them as quickly as you can. Stop them from playing. Do what you can. And even if we just, you know, nick a lucky goal, hang on to that. Hang on to that 1-0. Let's not get into the situation where we're conceding from free kicks or corners and all the rest of it. Show some desire that you want to see this out.
Can I say as well, Sam, like this, I don't know, like, I feel like this idea that the team is kind of fracturing around Jose or is kind of being floated around, I feel like there's a possibility that some confirmation bias or is kind of like people are expecting it to happen. Because more than anything, every time a player comes out to speak about Jose, they're more likely to come out in his defense than to say anything negative about him. And even the idea that like the French players that Graham Souness put out, and it's like Ndombele said Jose made him better just the other day, or people talking about the treatment of Bale. And it's like, what do you mean the treatment of Bale? He's been given opportunities. He's asked to come off. He's got his hamstring, played him in the Europas, started him again this game, showed him. So it's kind of like, you don't hear the players saying anything bad about him. There's just kind of like this assumption that they do feel something bad about him. Do you know what I mean?
If there's like a fight, they'll assume it's Jose, won't they? Yeah.
It's like that. Even when we were winning, they were just waiting for it. They were like, "Oh, are the players happy with this?" And then the moment we stopped winning, they're like, "Oh yeah, clearly the players are not happy with this."
It's quite obvious the media have got an agenda against Tottenham and Mourinho. I mean, you've seen it in the Daily Mail. The trying to say about Harry Kane's got to think about his future come the summer, and the whole Serge Aurier saga. I think it's just the media just trying to they're out. I think they've just got an agenda against Mourinho, and that's what they're trying to play on and they're trying to cause the unrest within Spurs. Because like Nigel says, no players actually come out and actually criticize Mourinho in his
not publicly.
They go out their way to do the opposite. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They go out of their way to say, "Oh yeah, we love the manager."
Yeah.
Mm.
We could do this all day, and we probably will need to have another separate show where we talk about the whole team and what we think about it. But again, I'm going to put this up now. Score predictions. We'll go round the board. Start on with you, Mike, and then we'll go around and see what you think. Score prediction for the game on Thursday. Darius, you're going to be last on this one because I already know what you're going to say.
Oh my God, I can't wait! I can't wait for Thursday.
Mike,
I'm going to go. It's going to be tight. I'm going 2-1 Spurs.
2-1 Spurs.
Wow. Why are you two at the bottom so like, oh my God? No, come on. Let's be positive. Nigel.
I'm going. Do I want to listen? My head tells me
He's stressed.
I don't want to be here. Just like
I'm gonna put you on so you can like say this.
I don't want to be the dog horse of Tottenham Hotspur just coming on here and putting out doom and gloom.
Full screen. Come on.
Listen, if we score 1 goal, I will be shocked. I'm gonna say 1-0 Chelsea.
You ready for mine?
I don't know if I am.
I was gonna say 0-0. I was gonna say 0-0. I just think that the way
Nigel, hold on, Darius. I'll let you come in a minute. Nigel, this is Chelsea we're talking about. This is Chelsea.
We won't have the ball, Shane.
We're gonna have about 22% possession.
We're not gonna touch the ball.
Darius, I'm putting you on full screen as well now. You have your say too. Good blimey.
I'll keep it short and simple. Look, I think it's going to be a boring, ugly, horrible, disgusting game. It's going to be a bunch of Chelsea just playing the ball around us, trying to break us down. We'll block a bunch of shots. They'll put a bunch of balls in the box. We'll probably have about 18% possession, 3 shots, 1 on target. Probably get the 1 goal. But let's go head and heart. Let me just shut up and go head and heart. Heart 0-0. Head 1-0 Chelsea. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry.
Tottenham fans out there listening to this show, that's
hey,
their
Shane,
opinion.
If we win on Thursday, I want these both on the show.
No, they have to. Because they're coming on. There's no choice.
Who's scoring? By the way, who's scoring?
For me, I'm going Vinny and Son.
Vinny and
Son.
Son.
On you Spurs.
I'm going Thiago Silva own goal from a ball in the box.
You know what?
I'll stop.
You know what? I need to close this show off soon because
Are you not expecting Kepa to start?
I'm going to say my score predictions, and it's going to shock you, lads. I'm going to say 2-0 to Spurs, and the reason I'm saying 2-0 to Spurs is there's a few. Oh my God! Hear me out.
I'm sorry.
Hear me out. Everybody's going on about Tuchel's coming and Tuchel's this and Tuchel's that. All Tuchel's done at the moment is just played a few players in positions, and he's got a little bit of Hudson-Odoi. You've done well at wing back. I'll keep playing that in that position. Whether Hudson-Odoi wants to be a wing back permanently, I don't think so. Alonso played left wing back for them on the last game that they played, and I didn't see the game, but Alonso ain't the quickest in the world. So if he goes, hold on, let me say my piece.
The goal was a banger.
I didn't see their game, so I can't comment from that. But what I would say, he's still trying to find his way. He's been there just over a week, 2 weeks, whatever it is now. He's still got to find his way with these players. He might not quite understand what this game means to the Chelsea fans and the Spurs fans, just for the fact that he's never been in one before. Jose does. Jose has enough history at Chelsea to really want to go out and not lose them. For that reason, I think that he'll be under these players to say, right, You can see what's happening in the media. They're saying that we're finished. They're saying you lot are not good enough. We're playing Chelsea. I know these Chelsea players. I know this Chelsea team, blah, 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 blah. I'm expecting him to do something like that to get these players to function in a way that shows me that they want it more than anything else. And they have to want it more than anything else because, as you said, our performances haven't been good. So I'm going to go 2-0 and I'm going to go Son and Vinicius as well. But I'm not letting Chelsea score. So you two haters at the bottom, you know what I mean? You come on Thursday, and when we win, I want you to say, you know what, Mike, Sam, you were right on that one.
I hope I do. I'm on your team.
We want a national apology.
All I'm gonna say is, what was our Brighton predictions? That's all I'm gonna say.
This is like when Stitches came in and said, "Oh, Mourinho was talking the hardest." I thought he was gonna come for Liverpool, and it was like, why?
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? Let's just wait. And like I said, we have to wait until these games actually happen. For it, like, predictions are so pointless with Mourinho teams. You don't know what's going to happen until the day. So let's just wait until the day. Please.
Well, I think it's time to go now because you lot have depressed me, and I want to go and just get some out of this depression. Viewers out there, like, subscribe, comment, share, all the rest of it. We are on the road to 500. That means a giveaway of a football shirt of your choice. Once we get to 500, we're doing a draw. Look out for everything over the various different brands and channels that we have on FTB Sports. We will obviously be doing the post-match reaction show on Thursday, and them two want to be here for that one. Win, lose, or draw, I'll be here. Mike will be here, and we hope that it's going to be a turning of the corner for Spurs. Gentlemen, thank you very much. We have to do. It's been a pleasure. It has been a pleasure. No, it's always a pleasure. We could do this for a long time, but we have to go. Let's go and watch the rest of the football. So we're going to go out. See you guys hopefully Thursday.